Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. I'm a Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 3416 Northeast 138th Avenue here in Vancouver. We're located at the front of the home, or straight out from the front door and porch here in the yard. We have a 4-inch ABS cleanout. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Here we go. And it looks like it transitions here immediately upon access over to Schedule 3034 PVC pipe, and it's still 4-inch. Alright, we got lucky here. My camera just ran out of camera cable, literally right here at the main. I don't have another inch left. Here at 190 feet out, we have reached the main lateral. I'm going to do locates to verify where it's at, and then we'll let the line drain out completely before rolling back. There's only one spot in the line that's even somewhat concerning. There is a belly just before the final kind of dive we do here. Aside from that, the rest of the line, especially for its length, is draining out very nicely. Okay, located the camera head successfully out the main lateral on Northeast 138th. Basically found it about smack dab in the middle of the street by the median. It looks like it's still draining. We're going to give it just a couple minutes longer here. I'm going to start reeling back here. Enough it's drained out. Mostly I want it drained out so I can get an accurate look as to how much standing water we have in that belly. Looks like it's just about done draining there. I don't know how long the line has been here, but if it's been here for any substantial amount of time, 5 to 10 years at this point, that's one of those bellies I wouldn't be too worried about. This line is extremely long. It's quadruple or more the length of most sewer lines, and because of that reason, it's hard to grade them perfectly all the way out that distance. So it's very common to get bellies, a whole bunch of them, or very big ones throughout lines of this length, and the fact that we only have standing water right here at this one spot is kind of amazing. Based on the debris that's in the line, I'm not seeing any major debris buildup, and where you'll usually see it is right here, right where the belly starts at. That's where you'll get, if you're getting debris buildup, you'll see tons of it built up on the sidewalls. Now this belly starts here at 166 feet. The water level is just over a half of an inch. It's not even an inch there. And we're only talking about maybe 3 feet of pipe. So for that reason, I'll go locate just to find out where it's at. This might be city responsibility anyway, but I'll locate just to see where it's at. In a circumstance like this, generally you need at least 5 feet of pipe to have 3/4 to 1 inch of water in it before you're going to get real debris buildup. As long as you're not putting things like paper towels, big giant wads of toilet paper, cooking grease down the sink, stuff that shouldn't go down the line in the first place, everything else is going to shoot past this spot just fine. There's so much good run before it that everything's moving with a pretty good rate of speed by the time it gets here. So it's not hindering flow all that much. Okay, this spot is located right at the very edge of the front yard. If I push my camera right here to this drop off, this is dropping off right where the big retaining wall is at the front of the property, just prior to the sidewalk area. And I'm picking it up around 9 feet deep. It's way the heck down there. It is under just grass, fortunately. I guess what concerns me here is how long everything has been there in place, how new that wall and the line is. If it was only put in 6 months ago, that's where I get concerned with that wall, is it looks like the wall possibly could have something to do with the line settling there. It's really hard to say, but it's up right next or close to it. So if it's a new line, I would re-scope it in a year or two to see if any settling's gotten worse. If this line's already 3 to 5 years old, it's probably done all this going to do. And in this circumstance, I do not recommend doing a repair on it. It's such a small section of pipe. Once again, the belly starts here at 166 feet, and it ends up dissipating by the time you just barely get to 169 feet. So it's only about 3 feet long, with consistently with about a ½ inch to barely 3/4 of an inch of water there. Based on how clean the line is and how free-flowing everything's moving through there, I don't recommend a repair on that spot. But if it's a brand spanking new line, I do recommend keeping an eye on it, because that's the one factor that can be hard to gauge, is if it's super new, settling can still be taking place. And you could also look into whether that's homeowner or city responsibility there. Most likely it's the homeowners. But again, if it doesn't get worse than that, I wouldn't recommend repairing it anyway. We're going to go ahead and just keep reeling the camera out. This tie-in here by code has to be a clean out every 100 feet. That's a secondary clean out in the middle of the yard somewhere. A lot of implements can't do it all in one shot like this camera can, so that's all that is. And I want to reiterate that I've done over 10,000 lines, and generally, and then this is one of the cleanest lines I've ever seen that's of this length. Usually, lines that are 200 feet have bellies everywhere, debris built up like crazy. This thing is just about spotless. So, whoever did it right. Well, the biggest thing I want to reiterate too, with lines of this length, even if they function absolutely perfect, and this line just about does that, aside from about 3 feet of pipe, because of the length that it is, you really want to be aware as to what's going down the line. You want to make sure that the only thing going down the toilet is folded toilet paper, and then just regular old food debris down the disposal. When you start putting paper towels and things like that down there, that debris, unlike most houses, it only has to travel 50, 60 feet. This has to make it 200 feet to get to the main. So even with a perfectly functioning sewer line, you still need to avoid those items, especially with a line of this length. They just tend to hang up, and makes it that much harder to get out when you have 200 feet of pipe to travel down. We're just about back to the cleanout. I'm going to reverse direction here and scope from the cleanout back into the crawl space. So we're sitting about 10 feet out from the house here. Alright, we are now back inside the crawl space. All the pipe from the foundation to the cleanout is also in good condition and draining properly. Now the line in its entirety is functioning properly at this time. My one suggestion here is, as far as this line goes, would be that if you find out the line is brand new, less than a year old, something like that, I would recommend rescoping in 1 to 2 years to see if any further settlings occur. Aside from that, good looking sewer line.